Okay, let's call this meeting, the Haysville Planning Commission to order. The first item of business is the roll call.
Flood.
Here.
Plummer.
Here.
Rankin. Azier.
Here.
Coleman.
Here.
Atkins.
Here.
Williams.
Here. Next item of business is a presentation and approval of minutes of October 13, 2022.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented. My second.
I have a motion to a second and a second to approve as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions? Under new business, we have consideration for MAPD case, telecommunications facility, 165-foot monopole tower at 1300 East 69th Street in Haysville, Sedgwick County, within our area of influence. Staff here to present that.
Yes, Christina from Wichita's MAPD is here to present that.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Christina Reed. I'm an associate planner with the Wichita-Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Department. That's a mouthful.
Is
This is
the
case.
is the microphone going to pick her up there, or she need to be at the
Or
podium?
where would you like
Yeah,
to see?
at the podium.
Okay,
It
I'm
should
sorry.
be able to
Okay.
still pick her up, but yes.
Okay.
It's probably easier for cameras too.
Yes, okay,
Sorry.
thank you. This for us is case number CON 2022-00043. It's out in unincorporated Sedgwick County. The applicant, the owner is John and Darlene Funston, and agent Patrick Irwin. He's with Tillman Infrastructure, and he's with us today, acting as the agent. And the request is a conditional use for a telecommunication facility on behalf of AT&T. The proposed the telecommunication facility is located on a property that's zoned SF20 Single Family Residential District, and that parcel of land is 14.46 acres in size. The address is 1300 East 69th Street North, and it's a 165-foot tall telecommunications tower with a 4-foot lightning rod, and we are recommending an approval with conditions. So the tower will be placed within a 75-foot by 75-foot lease area located in the southwest portion of the subject site. Just a little bit of background here. The Section 3-A2D of the Wireless Communication Master Plan limits the height of towers in SF20 district that can be approved by administrative permit to 120 feet as long as it complies with the compatibility height standards of the Unified Zoning Code for the City of Wichita. And the proposed tower exceeds that height guideline by 45 feet, so that's why they're applying for this conditional use. In addition, it's within 500 feet of a property zoned SF20 single family and RR rural residential, which requires adherence to the compatibility height standards set forth in the Unified Zoning Code. And so the compatibility height standards for wireless communication is as follows. Wireless communication facility shall not exceed a height equal to the distance to the lot line of the property zoned TF3 two-family district or more restrictive. And so SF20 is considered more restrictive than TF3. So for example, a wireless communication facility located 100 feet from the lot line of the property zone TF3 or more restrictive cannot exceed a height of 100 feet. So the leased area, I skipped ahead a little bit. Using the scale of the site plan provided by the applicant, the tower is approximately 175 feet from the lot line to the nearest property zoned SF20. Therefore, the 165-foot tower meets the compatibility height standards by about 10 feet. Access to the tower site will be via a leased access drive entering from South Ida Avenue. The applicant indicates this tower will be a monopole structure. As you can see on the last page of the report, they have a diagram of that. The proposed tower will also be enclosed with a 6-foot tall chain link fence surrounding the compound with a road gate at the entrance for signage. And the telecommunications tower is exempt from screening and landscaping standards because it is within unincorporated Sedgwick County. I'm going to skip a little bit ahead here. There is another telecommunications tower nearby. In 1997, the Sedgwick County Board of County Commissioners approved a 488-foot commercial communications tower approximately 812 feet southeast of the subject site, and the case report for that is CU 400. The character of the surrounding area is large lots that are primarily for residential and agricultural uses. Properties to the north and east of the subject site are zoned RR rural residential within unincorporated Sedgwick County. And then in the south as well as unincorporated Sedgwick County, and to the east as well is rural residential. But to the west, you have Interstate 35, but beyond that, you have the city of Haysville's, there's a farming and ranch operation just on the other side of I-35. So in terms of conformance to plans and policies, the requested conditional use is not in conformance with the Community Investments Plan, which is also known as part of the Wichita-Sedgwick County Comprehensive Plan. The 2035 Wichita Future Growth Concept Map identifies the site as to be appropriate for commercial. However, the subject site is currently developed with a single-family residential dwelling. It is already not in conformance with this plan. And there's already that telecommunications tower nearby, so that's why we are approving this application tonight. And then it's in partial conformance with the location and design guidelines of the Wireless Communication Masters Plan. It does say that, in general, tall wireless communication facilities should be limited to heavy commercial and industrial areas and should decrease in height as the intensity of development decreases. And they are looking to have this be in a residential area. However, there's other parts of the guidelines that it's in conformance with. So for example, wireless communication providers are encouraged to seek wooded areas for new facilities and for compatible siting. And so the proposed monopole tower will be in a heavily wooded area. I took photos after I submitted the report. It's just all trees. Like there's really nothing that you can tell from the photos. So the 165 feet is a minimum height needed to accomplish the requirements needed by AT&T to provide service to this area. The combined conclusion for conformance to planning policies is this request, and it complies with the overall spirit and intent to accommodate both the expansion of communication capabilities within the county while honoring the introduction of this type of use at this location. Based upon the information available prior to the public hearings, planning staff recommends that this request be approved subject to the following conditions. All requirements of the Unified Zoning Code shall be met. The applicant shall obtain all permits necessary to construct the wireless communication facility. The support structure shall be a monopole design that is silver or gray. The support structure shall be no taller than 165 feet in height, plus an additional 4 feet for lightning suppression equipment. And the site shall be developed in general conformance with the approved site plans. The applicant shall obtain FAA approval, and the applicant will submit a copy of the FAA approval to Wichita's Metropolitan Area Building and Construction Department. The site shall be developed and operated in compliance with all federal, state, and local rules and regulations. And if the zoning administrator finds that there's any violation of the conditions of this conditional use, we'll declare that the conditional use is null and void. And with that, I will stand for questions. Oh, I should mention, I'm sorry. So this case is going to be heard by the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission on December 1st. And if there are any protests or if you guys have a different recommendation than the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission, this will go to the Citizen Advisory Board 2, and that will be on December 13th.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why can't they hang their equipment on the tower that's already there?
I will defer to the agent for that question, for that answer. Would you mind coming up here?
Sure. Good evening, my name is Patrick Irwin. I am the applicant. I'll answer your question very directly. AT&T is currently located on the tower that's there. Their contract is at its expiration, and they are seeking to build a new tower adjacent to it.
Why don't they just get a new contract?
Yeah,
I don't understand why.
I think
a new
it's
tower.
financial. My understanding, I'm not privy to those conversations, but I would guess that it's a financial situation.
Okay.
Yeah,
I have a general question too. This is one unplatted lot, right?
Yes.
How does the zoning switch on one lot to be both residential and SF20?
I just look at the GIS map and, you know, right in the middle of it, it just splits from RR to SF20. My assumption is that those zoning, that zoning was put in place before the, after the property was there.
Seems odd that one property would have two different uses without it being separate lots or some
Right,
other
right.
version of. I don't know that it's necessarily germane to our conversation here today, but
Wasn't there another radio tower right, maybe in exactly the same spot 5 years ago or so? They took it down.
Not to my recollection, but I
Well,
also,
there, I live right by there. There
Yeah.
was a tower. I don't know if
Okay.
it's in exactly the same spot, but it's real close.
I can look
south.
into that and get back to you.
It was south on the east side of Ida, about halfway down. I think you can see it in one of these pictures. It's just an empty lot now.
That's what I thought. But is it
Yeah.
the same lot?
No.
A little different?
No, it was down, it's
Oh,
down
okay.
halfway or so. The
Okay.
concrete structure for the, like the telecommunications wires coming inside,
Mhm.
the little concrete structure's still there, but that's it.
Okay.
any other questions or discussion?
My question is about access.
Yeah.
I can address that. So we're gonna be coming through coming off Ida Street, through a neighboring property owner property that we've already acquired the land use rights for,
Okay.
of a neighboring property,
Neighboring property.
to the south.
To the south. Okay. That's what I want.
It's owned by a gentleman named Bradley Edwards.
That's fine. Just-
Anything else?
I have a question. So, let's say that the property owner decides to sell this property and wants to develop it, which would change, obviously, the characters. Could that happen? And would the conditional use permit transfer over to the new owner?
So the conditional use actually runs with the land, not the property owner, so the lease would remain.
If there aren't any other questions, I would entertain a motion.
Oh, one more. No issues with the abandoned railroad? Isn't there a high-pressure gas line that runs through there?
Not to my knowledge, but I can look into that and get back to you.
I know-
That hasn't been a concern for my.
I know north of the big ditch, there's a high-pressure gas line that runs through there. I just thought that went south, but it might turn and go.
So our access is actually gonna be on top of the old railroad bed.
Okay.
We're gonna utilize that because it's already elevated. That's gonna be our access road in. As far as the high-pressure gas line, none has been shown on
Okay.
any of the call-ins we've done,
Yeah.
which have been a little bit limited because we've only done a geotechnical analysis, and it got called in there and none showed up at that point.
Okay. And it might go somewhere else, north of the big ditch.
That old railroad bed follows that arc right there, right?
Yeah.
Which is why it could have been split. They vacated that, reverts back to the adjacent property owners. Okay.
Could be.
Anybody else have questions? Anybody have a motion?
I would make a motion to recommend approval of the conditional use.
With the conditions that are.
Yes, with the conditions that,
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to recommend approval with the conditions laid out here by MAPD staff. All in favor?
That's
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Item B under new business, public hearing of the comprehensive plan. To protect the rights of all parties involved, and in order to create an opportunity for everyone to speak their opinions and present information, the Haysville Planning Commission follows a specific procedure in reaching a decision. A copy is available by the door. Your attention to this procedure is appreciated. I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? We are now formally open for public hearing to consider comprehensive plan for the city of Haysville. Do any members have a conflict of interest? You can't have a conflict of interest for the comp plan, right? I'll ask the question. Does anybody have a conflict of interest? Have any members received, have any members received any written electronic communications on this matter that didn't come from Jonathan?
No.
Staff, please present.
Good evening. This is comprehensive plan is required for review yearly by state statute. On page 2, updates were made on population numbers and population growth projections. On page 6, updated planning area to area urban growth. On page 8, we added transit service and updated the bicycle paths to 12.89 miles. On page 11, we updated the planned water study for 2023 and information from the water master plan completed in 2022.
Hold on.
Yes.
We've got two copies here, one with red.
One is the
without,
red lined and one is just the clean copy.
with the changes incorporated.
Correct.
Okay, you can continue.
Okay. On page 13, we updated information on evaluating the sanitary systems and wastewater. On page 14, for stormwater, we updated the D21 study and design plans recently completed. Construction is scheduled to begin in 2023. On page 17, updates to law enforcement from police department remodeled in 2010 and the 911 dispatcher. On page 20, updates were made to include the construction of the new hack and park. On page 23, we updated that the school district is currently undergoing the demographic and facility study, which is expected to be completed in 2023. No updates were made to goals and objectives. These will be looked at later in 2023. We are still awaiting bids for review of the comp plan from an outside company for 2023.
Any questions? No, we went through that pretty fast, so if you want us to circle back, please say so. Essentially, all you did was bring this up to date, current with things that have happened that were
Correct.
not reflected in this.
Yes.
And the next step forward would be to have hire someone to go through this and do goals, objectives, all
Correct.
of that. Anybody have questions or concerns or things that they want to make sure get covered, or maybe things that were done that haven't been reflected in this? No more questions for staff?
No.
Now is the time for any member of the public to speak. Seeing no members of the public. No questions. I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Public comment is now closed for commission action, and the floor is open to commission members' comments. Anybody have anything? I would entertain a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion that the planning commission adopts the comprehensive plan for the city of Haysville, Sedgwick County, Kansas.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to adopt the comp plan for Haysville. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? No old business,
None,
no correspondence,
none.
any off agenda from anybody? Thank you, Deb.
Just want everyone to know that the Village Christmas is coming up on December 3rd from 4 to 8 p.m. 4 o'clock is the soup and chili feed begins. Other events start at 5. The city and Pride lighting ceremony begins at 5:30. And then on December 10th is the Haysville Recreation Center's A Night with Santa, and that's on December 10th from 6 to 8 in the Historic District
Where's the soup and chili feed?
at the Masonic Lodge.
Thank you. Any other off agenda? Item 9.
I'd make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you, everybody.
Mhm.